just me, which was sort of like the hungover college kid voice, which everybody, and they're like, hey, that's great. You sound like a hungover college kid. And I'm like, I am. So there's that. So if you can find a voice within yourself, that's awesome. Craft that and make that work for you. How many people here study dialects of the world? Anyone else? How many people can do more than 2? How many people? Okay, stand. All these people that can do more than 2. I want you guys to look around and see this. How many people can do more than 3? How many people can do more than 5? Well.
I like how as soon as you say well, everybody just...
Okay. Oh, look at it. If you want to have this as a career, it is crucial that you listen and steal everything. Take voices. I carry this around with me all over the place. I go to different restaurants and pubs. I listen to people on buses, and I just come up to them and say, I really like your voice. I will buy you a beer if I can steal it. And I have bought many a beer. Every year, I try to do at least 2 more. I learn 2 more. Next year, I don't know how to do Liverpool yet, so I think I'm going to try Liverpool. Last year was South African, which is all very clipped like this, you know. You got to sort of sound like you're a bit up to something, you know, a little bit like this, you know. And we got coming up here?
This is your entourage, dude.
Nice.
This is your bodyguards.
My bodyguards. This is my brony guards. And I also learned, South African I learned, and it was very difficult because it sort of sounds a little bit like
French.
No, not French, no. Although Israeli sounds a bit like French, I think. So anyway, it's a cross between a whole bunch Dutch and Australian and German. So it took me a long time. When you're trying to come up with different voices, it's also important to try to remember them. How do you remember them? Does anybody have an idea about how a person could remember multiple voices?
I just make a character with mine.
Catchphrases.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make a catchphrase. Like Marge Simpson, when I want to do my Marge Simpson. I'm never going to get paid to do it, but you learn a phrase like, there's something about this severed monkey paw that just doesn't settle with me. So that's my phrase, and I always go to it, and then I can recall it. Basically, if you really want to be a voice actor, and I see that there's a lot of people that obviously, if you stood up and you know that you could do more than 2 voices, and you stood up, that means you probably are kind of thinking you might want to do that. If you do it, remember there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of people that want to do it, and a lot of people that are really good at it. I understand that you're very good at it.
Subject to personal opinion.
Okay. Humble, nice, very nice.
Insecure, maybe.
Well, that's the other thing. You can't be.
I know.
There's a direct correlation between the amount of money you get and the amount of confidence you have.
Well, yeah, you have to believe that you're worth it.
That's right.
Because if you're sitting here saying, I'm not worth it, I don't believe I deserve it, you're not going to get the opportunities, you're not going to get the money, you're not going to get the notoriety.
That is true. And remember that there are a lot of people, and nothing nothing builds confidence like practice, practice, practice.
Or standing in front of an audience and scaring the living crap out of yourself.
That's true. But it makes it easier to stand up in front of somebody if you really know your stuff, like if you've rehearsed. I study my voices all the time. I always learn 2 or 3 more. Basically, all the people from Vancouver, all of our tribe of people, like me, Tabitha, Trevor Devall, Scott McNeil, Sam Vincent, Brian Drummond, Brian Dobson, all the Dobsons, all of us, Garry Chalk, we liberally steal from one another. All the voices. So if somebody comes in and does a really good accent, is it?
Oh, look, there's Final Draft, everybody. Let's give a round of applause for Final Draft.
It's Michael Bernstein, everybody. Look who it is. Here he is again.
He's doing the Gilbert Gottfried again.
Everyone's favorite draft.
So, I have a bit of an update for you guys. You were expecting several VAs to be joining us on stage. They will do so in about 7 minutes. So
7 minutes.
a little bit delayed, but they will be here shortly.
Start your watches.
In 7 minutes, Tabitha St. Germain and other voice
One
actors
man,
will join us
3
on stage.
women, 1 million voices.
Oh, gosh.
So yeah, so we steal liberally from each other, and it's okay. You've got to collect your little bag of tricks as a voice actor, learning different dialects, learning different, layering characters. It's all subject. It's all subject to personal stuff. Everybody has their own. When you hear the other voice actors come up here, this is just how I like to study, and I like to learn more things, and I have my own ways of coming up with new voices. All the voice actors are going to be a little bit different. We all have our little techniques that we use. How are you today, Mike?
I'm a little bit winded. Been running around, but otherwise I've been doing good.
Cool.
It's a marathon of panels.
It is. It is. Does anyone have any questions before the rest of the gang get here? Nope. Nothing.
No, nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
They know everything about you.
You know everything.
They know
there
everything
is to
about
know.
you and how to voice act.
They know every intimate facet of your
Oh, there
life.
we go.
It's just
Everybody
they stalk
knows.
you religiously. They follow you on Facebook and Twitter.
This
and it's
isn't
just, you put
class,
everything
raising
up there, and
hands.
it's just, you
There's a
wonder why they know
microphone.
so much. It's just,
Hello?
it's astonishing.
You know what I would do here? What I would do here, if I were in the crowd, I would take advantage of this moment
way, I love your
because
shoes.
in a minute or two, the other VAs are going to come in and the questions are going to be,
Oh, wait, no, we got some
delayed a
questions
bit.
on the
So if you got a
mic.
couple,
Okay. So a couple questions.
questions here to tide over time.
Do it.
Hold on, Mike. You can't be up on stage without the jacket. I don't care how hot the spotlights are. What are you even thinking? Thank you.
Whoa.
God.
I know you can hear me from the next room over when I wear this.
Fabulous.
Listen, look at this jacket.
That is awesome.
It's
you can
literally
thank Kat
bedazzled.
Whitney for this. She's
You
just
are
like,
that is Vegas right there.
Right there.
Wonderful.
I'm not going to make you wear that for the whole thing. I just
you're gonna make me. You know what? No, I'm wearing it now. I'm gonna.
Now you
got
gotta
to
wear the sunglasses.
Okay, fine. Let's just go all out.
And now you need to get on
So-
the table and do a jig.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So Lee, you mentioned that you have catchphrases for each of your characters that helps you remember them.
Yes.
And I was wondering if you could tell us Stephen Magnet's catchphrase.
Well, it's just that one word. Fabulous. or my mustache. That is the phrase, and as soon as I drop into that, then there. It is.
Okay, so this one's for Lee Tockar, you over there.
Hello.
So, do you know any websites to recommend voice acting, or any places to get voice acting training, and then you can go?
Well, it's very interesting that you should
Oh,
say
yes,
that.
indeed.
Why, as a matter of fact,
Indeed.
Shameless self-promotion. I just Tom Lee Music, Canadian company, but I think international. They just produced a 1-hour thing with me, the essentials of how to get involved in voiceover acting with Lee Tockar. It's $19.99. I don't know how much I'm going to get from that, but they paid me a little bit. So, and in that, it is my course boiled down into 1 hour, and it's separated into 4 parts. First part is coming up with multiple voices, and I create a little wheel of how to do it. It's an actual thing I'm developing as an app as well, and microphone technique, like sitting on the microphone like this, and the audition process. The second part is audition process, microphone technique. Second part, coming up with multiple voices and remembering them. Third part is the subtext of the writer, how to get into the script and know where you are as an actor in the script. And the fourth is shameless self-promotion. And then there's a bonus section of how to build your own home studio, right from using this and an Apogee microphone, all up to like getting a Sennheiser 416 shotgun mic and a Q1 Joe Meeks and getting the baffling and doing the whole thing. So that is one website. There are a lot of, in whatever town you happen to live in, there will be voiceover classes. There are free things online, but I don't know how reputable they are. And if you are an aspiring voice actor, you could go to Voices123 or Voices.com, or I think there's one called Voice Bunny or something like that. I don't know. I've never been to it. And they will. And what you do is you give them your demo reel. You have to make a demo reel, and then you give it to them. And then you put in all of the catchphrase, like all of the things like your age, what accents of the world you do, what you can play, what characters that you play, and then they give you auditions. I think you pay an annual fee. It's not much, but they'll give you slews of auditions every day, tailored to just what you've said that you can do. It's really quite wonderful.
Like-
But
You know, if we're talking about voice lessons, there's somebody walking on stage here who knows a lot about those. She's putting stuff down. She's almost here. She was here. Cathy Weseluck.
We made it.
Hey, Mike.
How's everybody doing? Woohoo! My Little Pony rocks.
So everybody, Cathy Weseluck here. If you don't know, and you should, but if you don't, is the voice of Spike and the voice of the mayor.
How's it going, you guys? So cool to see you.
Well, as we were waiting for people to filter in, we had a question about where to go online to find some tips of the trade about voice acting, and I know from extensive discussions and such that you have your own website about just that.
Yes. Well, I've been teaching and doing workshops for too long. I shouldn't even tell you how long, but a long time. Over 20 years, okay, I'll say it. I've seen it evolve, how actors perform and our requirements. And it isn't just about having a funny voice, it's about doing something with it. And I think that's where we get challenged when we're doing our shows with My Little Pony or any other show. They ask us to do different things, but we always have to stay in character. And because I do a character in this show, I not only have to stay in the range of the character, but then we get directed to do things in the character, like, as some of you probably know, singing. So now Spike is singing a little bit here and there. So
Which is awesome.
It depends on all those things. So there's lots more to it than you'd think. Do we have a question? I mean, I could ramble, you know that, but
Exactly.
and I'm happy to. But.
I think we've got time for a few questions while we wait on the other guys to filter in. So.
yeah, do you want to?
Sure.
Sure.
Since we're here in Vegas, can you guys do your best Elvis impersonations?
Something like that. Hey, Colonel. I need some more deep fried peanut butter sandwiches. Something like that. Here you go.
Should have been wearing that jacket though.
That's it.
Yes.
Here we go.
Oh, sure.
I get the feeling this is going to be brilliant.
I came here to just give you a little time here in Vegas. And I just want to tell you, I love the show, My Little Pony. I love the flashy one, Rarity. My favorite one in the whole world. Thank you very much. That was pretty awesome. That's a little bit of fabulous.
Next question.
Wait.
I didn't know you did one.
Wait. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. Ain't nothing but a hound.
I can do that sometimes, maybe not. You can be the judge.
Pardon me? Okay, I'll move. Somebody say something?
Never mind.
Here comes some more people.
So we are going to have a Q&A section a little bit later in this panel, so don't worry if you haven't gotten a chance to ask your question. But we got some big names coming up on stage.
Rarity!
Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing very well. You look beautiful.
Of course, Tabitha St. Germain and Andrea Libman.
Draft, so you want to hold the questions till later now that everyone's
Yeah,
arrived?
yeah.
Okay.
I'm just making sure we've got everyone.
We're all here who needs to be here. Please hang up and try your call again.
Your
Please make a
acting
note
is
of it.
important to us.
Do you
I
answer?
think you said.
Shut up. Do you answer the phone that way? And if not, why not? Because that's hilarious.
I find myself getting teed off with the automatic voice. Do you find that too? When they're like, I'm sorry. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not sorry.
The most infuriating thing for me is when you call somebody, and I know this from experience because this is what my mom's voicemail does. She's like, you've reached, no, I haven't. If I reached you, you would have answered.
I'm sorry. No, you're not.
Okay, well, this panel is the splitting personalities panel, and the logic behind that is that the voice actors up on stage here play multiple characters in this show, this My Little Pony show. And so what we're going to be talking about today is what it's like, in a sense, to have the kind of spectrum to especially when you're working on a show or talking to yourself, as it were, what it's like to have multiple characters on a single program, and what you do as a voice actor to delineate those characters and to, keep your sanity or lose it appropriately as a consequence. So, of course, Cathy Weseluck, as I mentioned, plays both Spike and the mayor. Tabitha St. Germain plays Rarity, Luna, Granny Smith, everyone.
Et al.
Lee Tockar plays both Snips and Stephen Magnet. And then, as everyone knows, Andrea Libman plays both Pinkie Pie and Fluttershy. So, my first question for the whole panel is, which is the most difficult character for you to portray amongst the characters that you do for the show?
I think it's hardest for me when I do Discord. Something's not right. Oh, wait.
Foiled again.
Wait a minute, I don't do Discord. Oh my gosh, okay. I don't personally, with my couple of characters and then the other incidentals or guests that I play, I don't think there's a difficulty. It's just different, except I think doing Spike, I mean, there are challenges in different ways, having to yell while staying in his voice, or singing and having to keep that lyrical, those kinds of things. But otherwise, I think all of us have done these characters or variations for such a long time that it's kind of a base for us, so we just kind of fall back on that as we go along in the show.
How much practice did you have to put in for the singing for Spike? Because that to me is a really interesting phenomenon. I mean, it's one thing to sing as yourself, it's another to sing as a character, and it's yet another thing to sing as a character of another gender. And, I mean...
I don't think, it's not sort of, in my mind, how much time we practice so much as, please, God, let's hope that it's in my range. So when we get a little ditty or something, or a song, I know at least for myself, because Spike is a boy, and I'm an alto, so I'm not a soprano, and a lot of the other ponies are sopranos, are in quite a high range. I just really hope that it's in a range that I can sustain that character and then sing in him in that range. So that's where the time comes for me. But with the magic of technology, too, they can alter the pitches a little bit here and there if they need to, if you go out. So they help us in that respect, but not too long.
Tabitha, you play several characters on the show. And how do you...
Like 1,000.
Like
Millions. 1,000 million.
For you, is there one that's more difficult, or I should use a better word, challenging for you to accomplish?
Challenging, yeah. I find, mostly because Luna, Nightmare Moon, has morphed quite a bit. I'm not really always sure where to start, or what kind of gear she's in, kind of thing. And that's probably, for me, my most challenging, and it's also... There are gaps between the episodes, and I've just learned that I say episodes idiosyncratically, and then everybody else says episodes. So there are gaps, and then I'm just not really sure where she is now generally. So that's one. But the rest of them have a lot of real anchors or they're just really, really pronounced. So it's just when they get. When a character starts to get normal, I get lost.
That happens?
So let's say theoretically someone, and this isn't happening, but if someone were to throw a script in front of you for Luna, where do you put your mind then? Do you think, okay, regal? Do you think...
Well, I look for all the clues that are available in the script, and I still sometimes have to say, okay, so do you mean this is the darker voice? Do you mean this is the dreaming voice? Do you mean this is the young teen, the vulnerable voice? Do you mean this is the queen? This is the queen of the night? So, and I don't know. So that I always have to ask.
Lee?
Hello. Well, I mean... Steven's I just drop into him like way too naturally, which makes everyone question what I do when I'm alone. But Snips is
Snips is just sort of pinched, and so it's just...
These are just characters, honestly, I have used a Snips kind of voice in at least 2 other shows. I think 10 years ago. But they're all with different accents because there's different layers and ways of coming up. This is what this panel is about. Snips is still very special and important to all of us, but you use variations. It's all variations. It's like you find a bass part. It's almost muscle memory. Like it's in the voice and in the larynx and where you go and how you could drop.
It's schizophrenia, basically, is what we.
A little bit, yeah. You sort of got to be a little bit, so. But it's not really a difficulty to find the character. What I find is if you're doing a lot of different shows at the same time, and then you have to do a voice that's very high. Like if I have to do a high-pitched, no rasp voice, that's almost I don't think I could do that anymore.
Yeah, you can.
No, not really. Everything has got that little Tom Waitsy thing to it, just in varying degrees. And usually after conventions like this, my voice is trashed. I work this week on a couple different things, but Nerds and Monsters is the voice I use on Monday is very dark and deep and sort of like this. So I'm going to be fine. So I can just talk. Yeah.
I forget the question.
The question was,
What is the population of Trinidad?
yes.
Who's more difficult to?
Well, it's more challenging. If there's a voice that's more challenging for
I
you.
guess Fluttershy is challenging to get across because she is so quiet that sometimes there's always volume issues. It's like speak up, and especially if it's like, okay, well, Fluttershy's, at the other edge of the forest, and she's like trying to yell at someone. It's like it's not gonna happen, Hello. Oh, we didn't pick that up on the mic. I don't know what we're
Pinky will
gonna
take
do.
care
I
of
guess I'll
it,
just
though.
go home. The end.
Well, the panel here is named Split Personalities, and it implies a certain amount of insanity in the show. I mean, you guys play multiple characters on this show, but you also have played multiple characters on other shows in the past as well. When you're voicing for more than one character, especially in a scene in one show, do you say snap between those characters mentally? How do you approach that mentally so that you
It's
don't
kind of
go
up to the
into-
director sometimes too, because the directors sometimes will feel even though they have confidence in our ability to go between characters, sometimes they'll want us to read one character all the way through a scene and then go back and do it. But I think we all just go from voice to voice.
I think too, like Sorry, go ahead, Andrea. No, go.
It's a really boring thing to say. I was gonna say if I have a really long chunk, then and it's really fast back and forth between the two. Sometimes we'll do one and then the other, but it's mostly just because they have to adjust the mic volume like a crazy amount. And it's
Do you have, say, test phrases that you do when they go in and to adjust the volumes then? I mean, or is that just something that...
Well, yeah, you just talk to do your check. You just, this is Fluttershy, she's really quiet. And this is Pinkie Pie, you better adjust the volume right now!
And thank goodness to our terrific engineers, because they already have every one of our characters already set up. They know what the levels are for every single character, so they just come in. They know that Pinkie Pie or Rarity or whatever is at that level, and so when we are on mic, they just know where that's going to be. And I think back to the question of what characters, how do we get into them or whatever. They sometimes in shows will just assign us those characters, and we won't even necessarily be aware of those like guest characters that we're playing them till we get into the session. And so then we have to provide a choice, and they may or may not like the choice, and if they don't like what you chose, then they'll ask you to try this or try that, and then the clients and the director will decide. So you're kind of morphing as you go, and you rely a lot on their directing, but you make the choice initially, or provide some choices.
And I just want to point out, too, yesterday when we were having the writers' panel, everybody shuffled on, and they were adjusting their microphones. I love that when voice actors, they come on a panel, they know exactly where to be in relation to their microphones. They're just immediately there, and it's just almost a natural reaction, just an observation. Well, I have to ask this of Tabitha. Your character did a Royal Canterlot voice, which was loud and booming. And how did the studio approach that? Was that something that you just came in and yelled, or is that something that they adjusted volumes on?
I don't know what they did in the booth, because I haven't got a technical bone in my body.
But I tend to, if I'm going to yell, I will back. I've always backed off the mic. When I started acting in radio. And so things were not so much, there wasn't a lot of, it wasn't the same kind of technological, you couldn't fix things in post in the same way. So, you used to actually walk up to a mic when you were entering a scene and back off as you were leaving a scene if you were in a radio drama. So I automatically do it, if I'm about to go, I am angry with all of you, I will go way back from the mic. And if it's more intimate, I'll be closer to the mic. And just do that naturally, So does that answer the question?
Yeah. And also, Tabitha was talking about radio drama. I think maybe all of us have done that. At least that's sort of my background too. And it's really funny because in radio drama in the olden days, because I'm so ancient I can barely stand it. Don't say anything. Don't look at me that way. If you don't work, that's right.
This is my good set of teeth, and I don't want to be throwing them at you.
You realize we're being looked at by probably, hundreds, maybe even over 100 people on that little black thing there?
I'm coming to get you.
We're coming to get you. Both of us are coming there now, okay? I forgot what I was going to say. That happens.
Sorry.
No, what was I saying now?
Do you want to know how many people?
We do want to know how many people are
How
watching
many
right
people
now.
do they got on the magic talking
Well,
box
we've got
over there?
in the room here, but we've got about twice that number on the Magic Box. About 900 people watching live right now.
Well, how you doing
Oh,
over
okay,
there?
sorry.
All over the world.
Hey, don't come
But
through
how
there.
many people are watching
Put
any...
some clothes on wherever you are, for goodness sake. We could see what you're doing,
Yeah, we're looking right back through.
Those are just tiny people in there. They're not threatening. They're this big. Are you guys like about 2 inches tall, maybe 3 inches tall? Because it looks like it from here.
That has to be a woodland creature, I think. But back to radio drama. See, I remember it. Isn't that bizarre? Anyway.
There's
I
a
wanted to
method
share
your
with
madness.
you. In radio drama in the olden days, yeah, that's why I did that. We used to actually have around the microphone, like not right there, but if you're doing a radio drama and you'd have like a fake kitchen door or a tap or like utensils, and you'd have to come in to, like you're doing the scene, and you might be stirring a cup of coffee, so they would give you a cup, and you would be stirring it as you're acting. Or you'd come out and you'd shut the door, and then you'd come in from a distance and walk towards the mic.
See, I could never handle that kind of multitasking. That's just crazy.
That's why we
Yeah,
do
who
what we do
multitasks
today.
these days?
I don't know why I like to do this. I don't know why. It's fun. Isn't it fun?
This is your old job.
Are you calling me old again for crying out loud? Do I have to sit beside her? Yeah, you do, because she's Rarity.
I know you like me, Spiky Wikey.
Oh, Rarity.
I just want to say, Spiky, if you really like me, you will end the canned goods and buy me some more diamonds.
Diamonds? That's what I eat, gemstones. Oh, okay, Rarity. What kind of diamonds?
Diamonds are forever!
Like, is that the guy Swarovski? What's his name? Where's he from? Is it Prague or something, or Switzerland? Swarovski diamonds. What, Mike? Don't you know?
The only
Don't you know everything? You're the mediator.
All right. If we're talking diamonds, they're probably South African, and you're probably thinking De Beers.
It's descending into chaos. Everything is descending into chaos.
So anyway, I was going to ask, my next question was going to ask, and I think you guys, through your actions, have proven my theory. I was going to ask, given that you are able to switch between these voices, etc., going into voice acting, do you have to be crazy, or does voice acting make you crazy?
Oh, you got to come
What
into
are you
it that way.
talking about?
You say that so easily, Mike.
You sort of got to have a couple screw looses when you go into this sort of thing. You don't just walk in off the street and just like
drop in. You've got to have a lot of time spent on your own, years locked away. And then someone just puts you in front of a microphone one day and falls apart.
I was completely sane.
No,
Liar.
she was not.
No, I was completely sane. And I'll tell you why. Because every individual believes that their normal is the normal. Because they know nothing else. And so I think I'm entirely normal, and everyone else here is just weird.
Oh my God. I'm not weird.
Oh my God, that's so random. You're so random. Oh my God.
Oh my God. I just want to say
Oh my God.
I hate it when you
You're
look at me.
also
Just
random.
Stop it.
Stop
Oh
it.
my God, what are you wearing?
How do you moderate
Oh my
this?
gosh.
It can't
Okay.
be done.
You know, Mike just
done.
corrected me because I totally was like not with it at the time. But he was saying something about, like I said, Swarovski. They told me it was crystals, and I really should know better because I meditate with them, right?
Then it would be Chuck.
Yeah, totally.
Anyway.
And then there's a British accent, and I think all of us can do that. When I had short hair, they used to say I looked like Lady Di. Watch. My husband Charles, and she always said, and that's all I can do.
Well, it seems almost like, I mean, I'm not a voice actor, but and I know that Mike, the mic down at the end of the stage
Yes,
here.
you are.
is
You
in
do
a-
Russian.
I can do the Russian. This is true. But that's Mike the Mic. He's a very well-known musician in the community. He also does some voice acting. It seems like you guys develop the voices, you switch between them so quickly. Do you change your mindset at all, or is it more now kind of an instinctual sort of thing that you kind of just pop in? Because for me, when I go into the Russian accent, this is something I can do instinctual. It's not very good,
Like
but
you said, it's insanity.
It is like
It's a
what I said,
muscle.
like what I said before about coming up with catchphrase. You have one phrase that you drop in muscle memory and catchphrase, and you do it so often, and we all steal each other's voices all the time. So
Just like now.
it's just like now, yes. It's nice. I like.
How many of you prefer pony to unicorn? Pony. How many pony like pony better than unicorn?
Earth Pony, she means, I think.
Okay, earth pony, yeah.
How many unicorns?
Yay! You enjoy magic.
Maybe a better way to ask this then is, when you're looking at the script and you've got the voice, maybe you can pop into an accent, how much do you mentally invest into the character as you're reading the script, or how much of that is an accent you put on, something like that? Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I don't find that there's really a lot of thought. I find the more empty your mind is, the more free of pesky things like thoughts. Because all inspiration kind of really just drops out of nowhere. So if you got clutter going around, you're thinking of things, you're really trying to push it. It sounds a little bit more like you hear the gears going. So I just love the feeling, actually, of going from one character to another. It's like, I think, probably the feeling that somebody who's really good at racing on a bicycle would feel of jumping over a stone or, whatever it is. It's an area of expertise where you just feel like, ooh, this is fun. I did that, and people think I'm good. And they don't know that I'm one-off monkey. Woohoo! Here I go. That's how I feel.
That almost sounds like a Taoist attitude, actually, kind of going with the flow, not working against what's natural.
Tao is now, man. Tao is now.
Is that like a rhesus monkey? Or?
Yeah.
Never mind.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You could Google it. He's going to.
I
So
don't.
anyway, back to
I know what a
ponies.
rhesus monkey is. I don't know what relation to anything.
This is what we're talking about, being spontaneous. See what happens to our minds? We just go to these crazy places. But, the other thing, too, is we are spontaneous, but we've done this so much that even if we have to do a scene where we're falling from a cliff, or we have to run and then trip, or we're getting punched in the stomach, like those things come automatic now because we've done so many of them. So we just see it on the script and we automatically know how to do that. It's just... It's just something that's a muscle that we've learned, so it is kind of automatic.
It's very strange to be working with all these crazy people all the time. It's probably the best experience I think I've ever had. It's what really makes my life happy, I think, when I'm really not happy, is when I get to go in and play with my friends. But when it's funny, you know how thoughts kind of travel, they say, in waves? If one person sings a part of a song or a couple lines, the whole room will just erupt with that song. Or if somebody does like an accent, then the next person will just start doing that accent immediately, and they'll start babbling back and forth like that, and the whole room. It's so funny. It's like we're little monkeys. Yeah. Like,
Thus the rhesus monkey.
Right.
Spike looks great making a layer cake.
I just figured out. Well, I think in a minute here we're gonna start doing some Q&As, the questions. You can ask a question for sure.
I wanted to ask how many voice actors are here?
Or aspiring voice actors.
She wasn't here when I asked.
Oh, I'm
You have to
sorry.
stand again. Everybody stand again.
Oh.
I want you to see.
Whoa.
I know.
Hello, our people. Okay, so
Same brain.
Does anybody have any good imitations of the MLP characters that they would like to? You do. Can we hear you?
Oh, I know this gentleman here.
Come on down.
Okay, first time actually doing this in front of a lot of people, but
Awesome.
I can do a decent Discord. I'm
Oh.
told. Okay.
Nice.
You should see the looks on your faces. Priceless. You'll get them back in good time. I simply took them to ensure there wouldn't be any cheating. You see, this is the first part of our little game. No flying and no magic. The second part is every pony has to play or the game's over, and I win. Good luck, every pony.
Good job. That was really good.
There you go, Bones.
There, now, see, that broke the ice. Look at them all lining up now.
You may recognize the shirt there. That's Brush and Bones, our lead, Everfree Radio's lead
I'm
fanfic
Bones.
reviewer. And I've heard that impression before, so it's good to see that you got that out there. Okay,
Thank
we've
you.
obviously got a lineup here starting.
Okay.
Bones, interestingly enough, will be going through making sure that you're not asking questions of a excessively spaghetic nature, if that makes sense.
Spaghetic nature. Spaghetic.
Yes.
That's
Spaghetti?
awesome.
If you know what that means. But basically, these guys can't answer any questions about episodes that haven't aired yet, material that hasn't aired yet. They also can't, they probably don't want to answer any kind of like grimdark questions, that sort of thing. So if you have a question, line up.
And I'm not allowed to talk about the Snips and Stales spin-off show.
I don't think it
closer
goes
to your
that far. Because I'm
Hello, good sir.
Hello. Hey, up.
Nice, Andrew.
Woo!
Anyway, I have a question.
Okay, Andrew.
The question is, I noticed that when you're trying to scream for each of your characters that you do, they all sound similar, and I was wondering if screaming is the hardest thing to make. If screaming is the hardest thing to make distinguishable.
To make it distinguished from other voices, but yeah. I don't know. I mean, once you're up in that volume and stuff, I get, yeah, maybe, because at that point it's just a volume thing. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Was that to you directing to someone in particular, or?
Oh, that was for all of you.
That was just for all of us. Yeah, it's probably because you don't really get a lot of variance when you're really just blasting, I would imagine. But also because they do use like a Walla library. Mm-hmm. They use it, so they'll do a bank of stuff like screaming, falling off a cliff, short, medium, and long screams and everything, and they just will keep those for places where they haven't scripted or they, so they will actually reuse some sound clips. So that's possibly what it is.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
but I think for me anyway, I mean, it is. I can't really speak
All
for
that
everybody.
all I would say is that there is a technique to screaming in your character, and it's a lot of people when they scream from their neck as opposed to supporting the diaphragm a bit. And I know for a fact if you're doing that for too long a time, you could give yourself a nice big fat headache. So you have to learn kind of how to have it come from a diaphragm to a place where it's your body as opposed to your neck when you're screaming. And then you just, have some candies with you.
And
survive.
but on that same note, though, Andrew, and I think everybody will agree, is that one way of coming up with new characters, maybe Andrea might not. She's very contrary. Anyway, is if you laugh. If you come up with a new character, a way to come up with a new character is to laugh in that character, or to come up with a funny laugh and then build a character out of that. So that's kind of a trick. It's kind of like it's in that Walla Library vein, but turned on its ear, sort of thing.
Thank you for the question.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew.
Real quick, we just got a tweet here from Mr. Jason Thiessen saying that he is watching the Lost Pegasus Unicon voice actor panel right now on live stream, and he wants us all to say hi to you for him.
Hi, Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Hey, Jason, what are you wearing?
Jason,
What you doing?
what you doing?
Squish your face wide open, Jason.
We miss you.
Put your PJs back on, Jason.
What?
Sorry.
Okay, so Spike and Rarity is gonna get married right now. Okay, do your voices like they're getting married, and then Snips. Snips will be the priest.
I'm sorry.
Do
I'm
it
sorry.
now.
What?
Wedding.
Okay.
Getting married. Do it.
Dearly behooved.
Right?
We are gathered here today.
Hold on, I have your flowers, Rarity. They're right here. I got them.
They're gorgeous. Now, how is my frock?
Dearly behooved, we are gathered here today to bring together.
frock?
Oh my gosh, we're never gonna get through this.
Awesome, Rarity.
More flowers. I got more flowers for you, right here.
Yes, we need more flowers.
I don't know what to say, but you look beautiful.
Have you got the rock?
What?
Have you brought my rock?
Yeah, totally. I had some ponies help me bring it in because it's kind of the size of Philadelphia.
Okay, we're renting the hall by the hour.
To everyone on the panel, some of the people in line wanted to know if it would be okay if they just came up and gave you an example of their own impressions, even if they don't have a question necessarily to ask.
Sure.
I would like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds fun.
You're gonna have to boodle up.
You have to boodle up. There's a big lineup. Yep. Thank you for your request.
Twiley, it's so good to see you, little sis.
Awesome. Look out, Andrew.
Nice.
And I have a question. What was your favorite show to work on besides My Little Pony?
My Little Pony.
My Little Pony. Friendship is magic.
My favorite's Martha, who speaks.
Cyber 6.
George of the Jungle.
Reboot.
Yeah, George, which is me, but a little dumber.
Yeah. Reboot.
Reboot.
Yeah. Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah, you should have been asleep 5 hours ago.
Okay, I will admit that sounded terrible, but whatever. Question for Cathy. If I can recall correctly, one role in particular that you did, since you're not just known for original animation, you also did some anime. What was it like sort of playing Kent from Powerpuff Girls Z?
Ken. Oh my gosh. So much fun. He's another boy version, but he's more real than the other characters I play. But he had to deal with all those crazy girls all the time. So I'm kind of always feeling like the buffer to the busyness. It was a lot of fun. It was great. I would love it even to continue.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thanks for your question.
We've got a question upstairs. Hi there.
Oh, hi, way up there.
Hello. Okay, so this is directed a little bit more towards Andrea, but all of you can answer. Do you ever find yourself like thinking of your character during the day, and it just like pops in your head, or you just start acting like it? Because I love Pinkie Pie, and I'll just like randomly start.
Wait, did you catch me doing something?
No, you just seem very joyous.
You're like
and
Exhibit A. Check out this video I took of you.
I think she really is Flutter Pie.
Do you happen today? I went to go get a coffee today, and the tip jar had Fluttershy painted on it, and it said "Yay." And I was like, "That's me." That's my story.
How about the rest of you guys?
It was mentioned earlier in the panel that you use catchphrases to help you remember various voices, accents, and nationalities. And so I was wondering, what are some examples of some catchphrases that you decide to attach to certain accents and nationalities?
Accents?
Whenever I'm trying to do like a Cockney, I always start with, you know what I mean? And that just immediately tips me over the edge into Cockney. It's like, cool, you know what I mean? Yeah, too right. So, you know.
If I do Australian, I go, good on, mate, whatever. That's right, yeah.
When I do Swedish, I do, now the cow is really on the ice.
Thank you.
Regarde, je m'appelle Cathy, comment ça va? Ça va bien, merci.
Ah,
Et vous?
excellent, excellent. Tu parles bon, hein, baby?
Yep. Okay.
Nice.
So, my question for you guys is, when you're, what would you say for like if someone's starting out as a voice actor? What would you say for some tips to help them get started?
Reach for the stars.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I would say the most important thing is to take classes, because when you have any untried ground, it's good to have clear kind of action steps that you can take, right? Just some kind of protocols. Even if you already kind of know, it's good to give yourself a little bit of a framework, and a good teacher will help you do that. But then the technology is available to everybody. You know, we've all got it on our computers and our phones. Every pony, sorry, whatever I got it wrong.
Pony.
Does every pony got it on their phone and somewhere? So you just go and make as many videos and recordings as you can, and play and pop them on YouTube and take classes in other forms of acting as well, I would say, just because it's great to have a broader understanding of how you make a character.
Yeah, find out who's doing what you want to do, and find out how they got there. Usually it's practice, practice, practice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, this is a question for all of you. As voice actors, you've already given us a lot of great tips on how to stay in character and do various, emotions, accents, etc. But obviously, before you can become the character, you have to get the character. Especially with Western animation, I figure that you don't often get a chance to look at what you're reading for until it's like 5 seconds, 5 minutes before they hand you the script and say, go. So what keywords do you guys look for? Like what key phrases or attributes do you look for in the script, and how much of it is here's what they're asking for from me versus here's what I'm going to present from myself to them, making it your own?
Well, we're given character descriptions for the auditions that we go to, so it's kind of outlined for us in great detail. They want to say it in great detail because they want to be as specific, because the producers and creators of the shows have something very specific in mind. They have an idea in their head usually before we even hit the microphone. And sometimes you will see a picture of our characters, so we could see whether it's a big person or a small person or a tall person or a frumpy old person or a little tiny spark plug of a person. So that kind of really frames it really, so it already puts us in the right direction, and then it's just,
But maybe,
mess around.
I when I was at a different convention last year, there were a lot of actors from, I guess it was Houston, And it was the anime arena they were talking about as opposed to the prelay. So maybe that's what you could be thinking about, because in LA, they actually don't get their scripts, they don't see it ahead of time, a lot for the auditions and things, whereas we do. So it just depends on if it's prelay or anime, and typically we do get to see the material, so we do have time to prepare it. So then when we give the choice in the audition, they either like it, go with it, or they direct us a little differently. Yeah.
Thanks. And who's this person?
Hi.
Hello, you.
There's somebody very fluffy over
Hello,
there. Do you have a question for us? Because we'd be happy to answer it.
Suited for Success.
You want to do a Pinkie Pie voice, you said? Okay, go ahead. Come right up to the microphone and give it a shot. Sounds really good already.
Go ahead.
Do you want Pinkie Pie to help you start?
Okie dokie, Loki. Let's go.
Is it like that?
I'm gonna jump into the magic mirror pond, and you're gonna jump out as another Pinkie Pie.
That's okay. Can
Don't be nervous.
It's okay to be a little bit nervous.
Can you say hi, every pony? Try that.
Just say hi, every pony.
Try it.
Well, you look really cute anyway.
You can do it.
By the way, I like your dress and your pants. It's very pretty.
Uh-oh, here comes...
Here it comes.
Uh-oh.
Aw.
What do you want to say? Okie dokie, Loki. You want to do it? No? You want to just hug instead?
Well, you know what? We already heard your voice when
Yeah,
you were
when you were-
asking if you could do it, and it was
And it sounded
really
very
awesome.
good. Yeah.
Do you want to wait for 2 seconds and practice?
You can just run in and grab the mic at any time.
Well, I heard your voice anyway when you were asking, and I thought it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Tristan.
Come on, let's go, Tristan.
Come on, Tristan, you can do it.
Oh my goodness, you're shrinking. Tristan is shrinking.
Okay, well, don't worry. You could practice for 2 seconds, and,
Yeah.
and you can ask us again if you want. How about
Or
that?
you don't even have to do it if you don't want to, Tristan. You can do whatever you want.
Right.
But we thought you sounded good when you were asking
Thanks
the
for
question.
trying.
Yay for Tristan! Yay, Tristan!
Because you know what? It matters more to try. So thank you for your courage.
Hello. Hi. Can Angela Libman, can you say...
Can you say it a little bit louder?
Andrea Libman, can you, in your Pinkie Pie voice, can you say, and I was like, oatmeal, are you crazy?
Oatmeal, are you crazy?
So I was curious, do you guys enjoy it when you get to like talk to yourself, or would you rather do like a scene where it's just one of your characters?
I like when I'm interacting with other characters that I'm playing. It means I'm getting paid more.
Tell it like it is.
That's too honest.
And in answer to that last question, there was another question, which is our favorite cartoon? I think I can, for all of us, the very next one that's going to pay us is our very favorite cartoon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Judge Hutt. That's my wife, off of Crust. I could just have heard you across the courtyard as you made that hat in Ponyville.
That's really good.
Okay, so this is for Tabitha. So I think you could give us all a gravy boat impression.
Oh my
There have been a lot of Ed, and Eddie fans here.
Gravy boat, gravy boat, gravy boat.
This one's also directed at Tabitha, and given that Princess Celestia isn't here, I don't think I'll be sent to the moon or anything. Hopefully not. But what do you think about Princess Luna being best princess?
I have to concur with that sentiment.
I can't do best thingies because I think there's just different and different and different. There's also and also, or we'd all be one big amoeba-like structure of blobbiness. So we didn't all come here to be the same guy. There's no best guy, but I love the sentiment and the compliment, and I thank you.
Well, maybe I could rephrase it a bit better. What do you think about just how, despite Luna having such a small role in the show in terms of her appearances and speaking, just why do you think it is the fandom has centered around her so much? I mean, I know there are just so many Luna fans in this community.
I think it's because she actually provided a bit of a balance and a bit of, it's not so much darkness, but depth to the piece. And I think that's something that the writers did and did really skillfully and beautifully. And yeah. Not gonna
May I provide some?
And Mike the mic has something to say.
Providing a little bit of fandom input, actually. A lot of it is that not a whole lot of the character has been developed. Because I mean, there's been a lot told about the character, but fandom is a very powerful thing. And what this fandom has shown on more than one occasion is that when you have a character like Scootaloo, for example, who has not been played up a lot, who has not been developed a lot, like we know certain key attributes about her, but not a whole lot about her backstory, we build our own backstory and our own headcanon for it. And I think for Luna, too, it's like in season 1, people like the whole sympathetic Luna crying in a box while it's raining, and I want to hug it. And then season 2 comes around and just runs that right over. And so, I mean, it's kind of having a character like that. You're able to take the extreme things that you associate with the character, for example, the Royal Canterlot voice and stuff like that, and you're able to just run with it, and that's why she's great, is because she has those very big things that leave a strong impact.
I think what that question kind of represents in a large way, and I know Mike will probably agree with me on this, is that Luna for a while, at least especially for the fans who were around when season 2 hadn't quite aired yet, Luna for a while was one of the coolest designs of a character visually, but you only hear from her for just a second. And so I think a lot of fans, and that's what the Brony online community has done, take the gaps and fill the gaps out there, right? That they take an opportunity like that for a design and a distinctive voice and kind of run with it. And that's made her really popular with a lot of people. And then for now, at least in my experience, season 2, season 3, what's been given, and the voice work that you've done, which is of course incredible, people use that and kind of fuel that interest further. So that's my perspective.
Yeah, so really you can give yourselves a great big hand because the imagination is staggering from the fandom and brilliant.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.
Just wanted to reiterate, because I've been getting a couple of people who apparently weren't here when I asked the question the first time, so I'm going to go ahead and reiterate, just for the sake of posterity. You had no problem with people coming up and doing the impressions, right?
Oh, I love it.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Okay, so you were good about it. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
The highest form of flattery.
Well, we've been thinking about it for a while now, and I'm not. I don't know if it's.
Yeah,
We're
just
kidding.
stop it. It's like you're making fun of us.
Guys are just they're trying to take your
We
jobs,
love it
that's
because it
why.
means you guys are so enthusiastic.
We're placing you.
Totally.
Anyway, I don't exactly have a question, but I would like to share an impression that I think Tabitha would particularly enjoy. Stay back! I just had myself groomed! I'm going to the buffet for some hors d'oeuvres. Thank you. It goes with my eyes.
Okay, no.
Well, no. See, I'm a little starstruck
Oh,
right
it's
now
before
because Jason Thiessen is watching.
We already
Let
know.
me start with the warm up with Peter New.
Fair
So,
yeah.
I got the E to the E to the YUP and an NOPE when I disagree. Ain't no other pony with the poise like me. I got wisdom, I'm a lesson in subtlety. I'm Macalicious. Yup.
There you go.
And then the one that's necessary. And I actually do have a question for Tabitha and Andrea, because what's the reason why you don't do the longer songs for Rarity and Pinkie Pie? No offense to Shannon and Kazumi, but I just wanted to know that.
Well, it's just that it's not our choice. It's just the creative decision. So we just roll with it. But I think we both agree that they do an amazing job, and they're just such good singers. So, and the songs are awesome too. So, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so voicing characters who are regular and who are large parts of the show, how often is it that you add your own little improvisations or personal interpretations to sort of evolve the characters beyond the script that you see in front of you?
Well, it's kind of frowned upon to improvise lines, but I can't always help it. And I know Lee can't.
Sometimes the brain just opens up and just things fall out.
And sometimes they accept them, and sometimes they put us on hold. Your acting is important to us. Please hold the line. and a
Please hang
director will
up
be
and
there.
act your call again.
Does that answer your question?
I think you said.
Hello, my question is for Cathy. We know that you both do male and female character voices, and I just wanted to know which one you prefer, or which one you like doing more.
I don't think there's a preference to either. It's a challenge for both, so it's refreshing when I go back to the female voices or the kids' voices, the girl voices. So I've done such a host of both of them that that I enjoy both. For those people who do know anime, when I did a character called Shampoo and Ranma 1/2, which is crazy. She's a crazy Amazon woman. I had to arrange it. It was just insane. So everyone knows the Haya thing. So
Hiya, Rama. Rama take shampoo to a date.
oh, and she just was bouncing off walls constantly in the show. So it was fun, and to try to keep things going and have the energy to come in, first thing at 9 o'clock in the morning and be smiling and chipper and bouncing off walls was really
I
a
wouldn't know
challenge.
anything about
She
that.
knows nothing about that, Andrea. So I don't prefer either one. I think both are interesting challenges, and it's just getting the nuances of the differences that makes it interesting.
All right, thank you, Cathy.
Thank you.
You look gorgeous.
Yay.
I think somebody's back. What's your name again? Rarity? Rarity. You want to speak to Rarity? Do you want to talk to Rarity? Okay. Hello, gorgeous girl. What are you doing? Do you do a Rarity impression?
Can you do your impression? You said you were ready.
Do you think your mom could do it for us too? You don't have to. But you're a trooper, Mom.
do this.
Oh my God, that's so
Just as much as we
Thank you both.
Okay, first off, for Andrea, do you like Pokemon?
What?
This is not my official one, but have a Fluttershy. Free Fluttershy.
A Fluttershy Pokemon?
Yeah.
That looks like.
That is awesome.
It's a Fluttershy Pokeball, which is used to catch Pokemon.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm confused and excited.
Can you have to the panel? Oh, okay.
That's amusing. Do we get to play with it?
I think she's.
What's happening? It's for me? Oh, thank you. Aw, thank you. It's awesome. And now I can use it as a weapon.
For Andrea, I was wondering if you could yell, "You're going to love me."
You're going to love me!
Okay. We've got a question from upstairs. Has been very patient.
Hey guys, from what I gather from all the interviews you guys have done, the atmosphere in the recording studio is very, lighthearted and all that. I was wondering, when you're recording like a different kind of show, like Cathy, when you were recording like Gundam Wing or other more serious shows like that, is it helpful to stay with the tone of the show, or do you have a tendency to, lighten the mood with jokes, even if the show may not have any? Sorry.
That's multi. So you're wondering if it's more challenging or fun for us or comfortable for us to do?
If you're recording a more serious show, do you still like to joke around in the studio as much as you do?
I mean, it's always fun.
I don't think I don't think we think of it when I'm doing something like Gundam Wing. I played, for those who don't know, Dorothy Catalonia in Gundam Wing, the evil one. The mood itself of the entire show is, or like Death Note was another one. The mood itself is just it's just so solemn and so serious and so much a drama that you just automatically are in that mode. So in order to perform it, you have to be in that mode, but it's just the nature of the show. You stay in it because that's the atmosphere. So I don't even think of, unless I'm having a ton of coffee or I'm standing with these guys or something, they come in. But no, you just go into the mode of what the show is quite automatically. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
And Tabitha wants to say something.
Also, with those shows, with the you're doing them by yourself. You're in a studio by yourself, which makes you focus in a different way. But when the gang's all there, even when it is serious, you'll tend to float to the surface of the water after. Yeah.
I think we got time for about 3 more questions. So I'm sorry if you're at the back of the line and aren't able to get to it. We only got so much time to go through things. So.
So I'm a TA for the local school district. I work with children, and they're very talented. I think they're amazing. And in the show, you guys work with very young talent, Michelle Kreber. And I just wanted to ask what it's like working with someone so young and so talented for her age.
We're totally intimidated.
She's awesome. And with Michelle, I don't even think of her as being young. She's so professional, and she's just another amazing talent that's in the room. And I don't think of her as a kid. I just think of her as my colleague.
A bit more focused than we are.
She is. She's yeah.
And
Way more.
I've been working with Andrea Libman since she was very, I still look at her like I have a hard time thinking of her as anything other than this little girl. She's like
I'm a
that's why she's
grown-up now.
Does
that make you an old man, Lee? Is that what you're saying?
I'm an old man, so don't listen to me. But I mean, you have to be, whether you're young or old, if you're there in the studio, you already have some pretty good chops, because they're professional actors, but no matter what age they are, they're there, so they had to be good to get there. So.
Thank you.
And as somebody who works in education, you've got all the respect in the world for me. I know what it's like, man. I know what it's like.
It can be challenging, but it's worth it.
Yep.
Right on.
And thank you for doing what you do and putting the heart into it.
All right. Did you guys know about the show's potential right from the start, or did it take a while to grow on you? And this is coming from just the show itself, not of how the fans reacted to.
Well, I can say personally that I really liked it from the start because the writing was so good. It was so exciting, especially coming from the previous generation of My Little Pony and moving into this one. It was, just completely different, and it was exciting. The stories are so good. So I had no idea that it would become what it has. I don't know who could have predicted that, but I knew that I liked it. I think.
And it doesn't surprise me, the popularity, because of the theme and the
you're
excellence of the show, the focus on friendship and kindness and goodness and wholeness and all those morals and values that we're kind of missing a little bit. So I think that's what attracts everybody too, and that just spreads like wildfire. So how can it not succeed in that way?
Thank you. Hello.
Question for Tabitha. Hello. Do you try to make your tweets sound as crazy as possible, or does that come natural?
That's entirely natural, like my hair.
All right, well, we were running a little bit behind, but I want to thank everybody up on stage here for sticking with it. Of course, Cathy Weseluck, Tabitha St. Germain, Lee Tockar, Andrea Libman, and Mike the microphone.
Yeah, I said like 2 words. Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Mike the microphone.
And thank you, Mr. Bernstein.
Thank you, Mike
And Everfree and
Bernstein.
everybody
Final
helping
draft,
out.
everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
See you soon.
That's it. You can go now.
Just me, which was sort of like the hungover college kid voice, which everybody, and they're like, hey, that's great. You sound like a hungover college kid. And I'm like, I am. So there's that. So if you can find a voice within yourself, that's awesome. Craft that and make that work for you. How many people here study dialects of the world? Anyone else? How many people can do more than 2? How many people? Okay, stand, all these people that can do more than 2. I want you guys to look around and see this. How many people can do more than 3? How many people can do more than 5? Well.
I like how as soon as you say well, everybody just...
Okay. Oh, okay. If you want to have this as a career, it is crucial that you listen and steal everything. Take voices. I carry this around with me all over the place. I go to different restaurants and pubs. I listen to people on buses, and I just come up to them and say, I really like your voice. I will buy you a beer if I can steal it. And I have bought many a beer. Every year, I try to do at least 2 more. I learn 2 more. Next year, I don't know how to do Liverpool yet, so I think I'm going to try Liverpool. Last year was South African, which is all very clipped like this, you know. You got to sort of sound like you're a bit up to something, you know, a little bit like this, you know. And who we got coming up here?
This is your entourage, dude. This is your bodyguards.
My bodyguards. This is my brony guards. Just practice.
Or standing in front of an audience and scaring the living crap out of yourself.
That's true. But it makes it easier to stand up in front of somebody if you really know your stuff, like if you've rehearsed. I study my voices all the time. I always learn 2 or 3 more. Basically, all the people from Vancouver, all of our tribe of people, like me, Tabitha, Trevor Devall, Scott McNeil, Sam Vincent, Brian Drummond, Brian Dobson, all the Dobsons, all of us, Garry Chalk, we liberally steal from one another. All the voices. So if somebody comes in and does a really good accent, is it?
Oh, look, there's Final Draft, everybody. Let's give a round of applause for
It's
Final Draft.
Michael Bernstein, everybody. Look who it is. Here he is again. He's doing the Gilbert Gottfried again. Everyone's favorite draft.
So, I have a bit of an update for you guys. You were expecting several VAs to be joining us on stage. They will do so in about 7 minutes. So
7 minutes.
A little bit
Start your
delayed,
watches.
but they will be here shortly.
Start your
In
watches.
7 minutes, Tabitha St. Germain and other voice
One
actors
man,
will join us
3
on stage.
women, 1,000,000 voices.
So yeah, so we steal liberally from each other, and it's okay. You've got to collect your little bag of tricks as a voice actor, learning different dialects, learning different, layering characters. It's all subject. It's all subject to personal stuff. Everybody has their own. When you hear the other voice actors come up here, this is just how I like to study, and I like to learn more things, and I have my own ways of coming up with new voices. All the voice actors are going to be a little bit different. We all have our little techniques that we use. How are you today, Mike?
I'm a little bit winded. Been running around, but otherwise I've been doing good.
Cool.
It's a marathon of panels.
It is. It is. Does anyone have any questions before the rest of the gang get here? Nope. Nothing.
No, nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
They know everything about you.
You know everything.
They know
there
everything
is to
about
know.
you and how to voice act.
They know every intimate facet of
Oh,
your
there we
life.
go.
It's just
Everybody
they stalk
knows.
you religiously. They follow you on Facebook and Twitter.
This
and it's
isn't
just, you
class,
put everything
raising
up there, and
hands.
it's, you
There's a
wonder why they know
microphone.
so much. It's just,
Hello?
it's astonishing.
You know what I would do here? What I would do here, if I were in the
It's so
crowd, I would
great.
take advantage of this moment
way, I love your
because
shoes.
in a minute or two, the other VAs are going to come in, and the questions are going to be,
Oh, wait, no, we got some
delayed a
questions
bit.
on the
So if you got a
mic.
couple,
Okay, so a couple questions.
questions here to tide over time.
Do it.
Hold on, Mike. You can't be up on stage without the jacket. I don't care how hot the spotlights are. What are you even thinking? Thank you.
Whoa.
God.
I know you can hear me from the next room over when I wear this.
Fabulous.
Listen, look at this jacket.
That is awesome.
It's
you can
literally
thank Kat
bedazzled.
Whitney for this. She's
You
just
are
like,
that is Vegas right there.
Right there.
Wonderful.
I'm not going to make you wear that for the whole thing. I just
you're gonna make me. You know what? No, I'm wearing it now. I'm gonna.
Now you gotta
spite
wear the
you.
sunglasses.
I'm gonna spite you. Okay, fine. Let's just go all out.
And now you need to get on
So-
the table and do a jig.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So Lee, you mentioned that you have catchphrases for each of your characters that helps you remember them.
Yes.
And I was wondering if you could tell us Stephen Magnet's catchphrase.
Well, it's just that one word. Fabulous. or my mustache. That is the phrase, and as soon as I drop into that, then there it is.
Okay, so this one's for Lee Tockar. You over there?
Hello. Yeah, and I also learned, so South African, I learned, and it was very difficult because it sort of sounds a little bit like
French.
No, not French. No, although Israeli sounds a bit like French, I think. So anyway, it's a cross between a whole bunch Dutch and Australian and German. So it took me a long time. When you're trying to come up with different voices, it's also important to try to remember them. How do you remember them? Does anybody have an idea about how a person could remember multiple voices?
I just make a character with mine.
Catchphrases.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make a catchphrase. Like Marge Simpson, when I want to do my Marge Simpson. I'm never going to get paid to do it, but you learn a phrase like, there's something about this severed monkey paw that just doesn't settle with me. So that's my phrase, and I always go to it, and then I can recall it. Basically, if you really want to be a voice actor, and I see that there's a lot of people that obviously, if you stood up and you know that you could do more than two voices, and you stood up, that means you probably are kind of thinking you might want to do that. If you do it, remember there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of people that want to do it, and a lot of people that are really good at it. I understand that you're very good at it.
Subject to personal opinion.
Okay. Humble, nice, very
no,
nice.
Insecure, maybe.
Well, that's the other thing. You can't be.
I know.
There's a direct correlation between the amount of money you get and the amount of confidence you have.
Well, yeah, 'cause you have to believe that you're worth it.
That's right.
Because if you're sitting here saying, I'm not worth it, I don't believe I deserve it, you're not going to get the opportunities, you're not going to get the money, you're not going to get the notoriety.
That is true. And remember that there are a lot of people, and nothing comes from, nothing builds confidence like practice.
So, like, do you know any websites to recommend voice acting, or any places to get voice acting training, and then you can go?
Well, it's very interesting that you should say
yes,
that.
indeed.
Why, as a matter of fact,
Indeed.
Shameless self-promotion, I just, Tom Lee Music, Canadian company, but I think international, they just produced a 1-hour thing with me, the essentials of how to get involved in voiceover acting with Lee Tockar. It's $19.99. I don't know how much I'm going to get from that, but they paid me a little bit. So, and in that, it is my course boiled down into 1 hour, and it's separated into 4 parts. First part is coming up with multiple voices, and I create a little wheel of how to do it. It's an actual thing I'm developing as an app as well, and microphone technique, like sitting on the microphone like this, and the audition process. The second part is audition process, microphone technique. Second part, coming up with multiple voices and remembering them. Third part is the subtext of the writer, how to get into the script and know where you are as an actor in the script. And the fourth is shameless self-promotion. And then there's a bonus section of how to build your own home studio, right from using this and an Apogee microphone, all up to like getting a Sennheiser 416 shotgun mic and a Q1 Joe Meeks and getting the baffling and doing the whole thing. So that is one website. There are a lot of, in whatever town you happen to live in, there will be voiceover classes. There are free things online, but I don't know how reputable they are. And if you are an aspiring voice actor, you could go to Voices123 or Voices.com, or I think there's one called Voice Bunny.